Jurrien Timber to Arsenal. Here we go. So, as per Fabrizio Romano, Jurrien Timber has been signed by Arsenal. Not signed, but yes, he will soon sign for 40 million euros plus 5 million add-ons. Predominantly, most likely, he will be playing as a right back for Arsenal. So, Adarsh, what's your take?
Yeah, man. This player has been in the radar for a lot of teams, including my team, Manchester United. But we were more interested in him last season than this season, I would say. In the few weeks before this confirmation, Arsenal were really behind him, and they finally confirmed his signing. And what I've heard from various sources, including Sky Sports, is that he will be playing as a right back. I mean, he has been signed to play in the right back position, or if they play as a back three, then he will occupy this right centre back position. So I think Arteta is going with the same strategy that Pep Guardiola uses, is that he signs player who can play in at least two positions or two or multiple positions basically. So he's one of those players only. For Ajax, he plays as a centre back, but he has played as a right back for a lot of games, and I think it will suit Arsenal. They're definitely strengthening their defensive line. They saw last season that Ben White, who was very good last season, faded away towards the end of the season, and that was one of the reasons that they lost so many games towards the end of the season. So I think having another player in that position is very good to kind of refresh things, right? Uh, he can give you, I think, he can give you much more than Ben White going forward. Uh, the one thing I saw in the highlights is that he's not very strong in the air. He misses a lot of headers, but defensively, he's very astute. He reads the game very well. He's a good tackler of the ball. He's good with progressing the ball, but that's not his main strength. So with this signing, I think Mikel Arteta just wants to strengthen his backline, and I think he will definitely contribute a lot to that. Now we've seen that Ajax players, especially the players that comes from Eredivisie, it's quite 50-50 with them. Some of them shine, and some of them just fade away in the first season. So we'll have to see how this pans out. But overall, I think it's a good signing for Arsenal.
I agree with you. I think a very dynamic signing who can play multiple positions. And with this, last season we saw that what happened after Saliba got injured, right? The whole defense was brutally exposed, and they were just conceding goals, not just from Manchester City, but even Southampton was easily scoring goals against them. The team which has been relegated, right? So, of course, with this, even Ben White now gets the option to play as a centre back, which is his natural position, and if required, even he can play as a centre back because they have another right back in the form of Tomiyasu who got injured last
Yeah.
season, right? So now they have multiple position players for multiple positions, which has literally strengthened their defense. So defensively, Arsenal is very sound. Attacking wise, Arsenal is very sound. The only concerning part for Arsenal, again, it comes to the same part. It is midfield. How they are going to manage because both Thomas Partey and Xhaka are going to leave Arsenal, right? So they are not left with many options in the midfield area. So I think they really need to, sign a couple of players, at least two players, as per me, for midfield.
They have signed, and I think this was confirmed today that Declan Rice has officially been signed by Arsenal, right?
Yes,
So
apart from Declan Rice, two and two more midfielders, at
yeah,
least.
yeah. If they're thinking of playing Havertz in their midfield three, then that is a worry for them. You mentioned Tomiyasu's name, and we saw how much for how much time he was injured last season, and not just last season, the year
Exactly.
before that also. Although personally, I think that
Exactly.
he's the best natural right back that they have currently. But I
Yeah.
think Arteta did the right thing by signing another right back or a defender because he knows that a few of his defenders are very lightweight in terms of getting injuries, right? So he needed some additional signings to kind of solidify and have a
Exactly.
mix in that position. So I think overall they have secured a good deal. He's a very young player, 22 years old, and to sign him for 40 million euros, which is not that much in these days,
Exactly.
I think it's a job well done by Arsenal.
And that too, he's a dynamic player who can play as a centre back, who can play as a right back as well. So a dynamic player for 40 million euros, and that too just 22 years old. I think it's a good deal. When
Yeah,
looking at the Arsenal part, it's a very good deal.
absolutely.